Hi everybody, I'm Daniel Bravin from Penetron. My main role is about sales and technicians. So my job is to link material properties with market requirements. This is not a lesson. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a professor. So let's make some art in this talk. That is something like a tale, and the tale starts with once upon a time and with the chapter one. In these days, and this is the main thing that I realized by talking to you, even during the spare time, is that is needed a company overview to better understand how our company works and runs. So Penetron is an international company. It is established in the New York, USA, almost 45 years ago. So it's sometimes that is on the market, and it distributes worldwide in more than 110 countries. Penetron Italia is the Italian filial of Penetron International, and has its headquarters in Turin, in the northwest part of Italy. It has been established in the 2000. We didn't party properly last year, but we will as soon as possible. We got a series of distributors all around Italy so that all the territory is covered. But each porter provides, especially technical offices, to make offers and to have a look at all the offers required from all around the territory, management, and main storehouse. So the brain is everything in the headquarters. Our mission is about to provide solutions for concrete concerning both waterproofing and the increase of building life cycle. Our main customers, so that you can focus a little bit on the market, are building companies, concrete plants, and engineering studios. This is something that I want to put my attention on. I want to ask you to stop thinking as researchers and just take a joke and imagine that you are one of my customers. So building companies, concrete plants, and engineering studios. To better understand what I'm explaining to you, it's important to focus on what are these companies into when they think about using a new material, a new application. They are into cost, of course, the quality of material, if the material could work properly, even the costs are important. The ease or the difficulty of the application, if it's required a special manpower or normal manpower, that means cost. The application time is very important. So for a company, for a working plant, concrete plant, the time is a very important estimation, so it's also cost. The environmental impact, this is a sort of new way of thinking. We are always thinking about companies. And companies are starting approaching to the environmental impact of a product. That means cost. This is just only to let you feel how a product could be of a superior quality, but needs to face with all of these values. You have to imagine that every company does these things on their mind. Chapter 2 is the Penetron Admix. I like to continue my overview because Penetron Admix is the most studied product we sold, and I want to explain it in a market view way. The crystal admixture ID, as it appears as a powered, and its dosage is 1% of the cement for the concrete, 3% for the mortar. The package is both of bags or cans, and it's added directly on concrete plants. The specifications. I know that tests and numbers are your job, but I want to make these tests to be looked at in another way. This is a permeability test with a concrete with a water cement ratio of 0.45, 44, sorry, and it has a penetration maximum of 3 millimeters. This is another permeability test with another kind of water cement ratio that is 0.58, and you got a penetration maximum average of 9 millimeters. Let's put this with another few tests that are the resistant to carbonation. We take two kinds of concrete, one with a water cement ratio of 0.43 and one with 0.48. The results allowed us to comprehend that the concrete with Penetron increase is resistant to carbonation more than 50%. The same things we did with chloride, the resistance of the chloride migration, and we realized that as the same as before, the low quality concrete with 0.48, but with the admixed Penetron inside, got a reduction of the permeability of the chloride. So the coefficient of the chloride migration decreases, especially after long time. We can see after 28 days, it's higher. This is because the crystalline admixtures still hasn't worked completely. The crystals are forming, and after that the reaction starts, the chloride migration coefficient will decrease during the time. This means that a concrete with a higher Bussy ratio, that is considered a worse concrete if compared with a concrete with a lower Bussy ratio, has superior performances. For industries, for companies, this is a very important value, because you can use a mixed design with apparently lower quality, and with Penetron Admix you can raise up the properties. Penetron Admix got a lot of certifications concerning the quality of the product and also the environmental impact certifications. This is very important because there are some advantages if you use a product that have some certain certified. The white tank. I was Penetron Admix put in a typical working appliance. The white tank, we have to make a step beyond on black tank. Black tank is all the systems that needs to do something to cover to achieve the waterproof for the structures, for example, membrane. The white tank is another system based on using a crystalline admixture to make the concrete waterproof, but you have to make some accessories to prevent water to pass through the joints. The joints, I will just only explain a few of them to make you better realize what I'm talking about. The joints are foundation wall is the first one. If we pour concrete on the foundation and we pour concrete on walls with the Penetron Admix, the concrete is waterproof. But we need to seal the joint between them. We use steel bars, steel plates with a water joint, either expensive, made of bentonatic and solid gum. This is a typical appliance. This is the steel plate directly on the embedded steel, and then after the pouring we got a result like this. This is a mechanical barrier that link the foundation with the wall. This green water is a tracer that is inside Penetron Admix and is one of the first control site on site to know that Penetron Admix is used in the concrete. This is how the cordon, the bentonatic hydroexpansive is used. Another important thing is to avoid the concrete to crack. Well, concrete is used to crack. It is one of its property. What we do is to let him crack where we want. So if we have a wall, we put a steel bar with the hydro expensive, and we make a little reduction of section of the wall, so that there will be compare a crack on this position, and there is this steel bar as a barrier. We can see it before the pouring of the concrete in the wall, and then we have inside this part a crack, a passing through crack, but that is blocked by the steel bar, and then we close it with a mortar for a better security. The same thing is about when we start pouring and then we interrupt it to continue on another wall. So there is the steel plate double, and with an half on the first pour and then the other on the second one. It's something like this. You can see this part has been already poured and the other one. I want to focus just a little on these blue tubes. These tubes are not necessary to make the white tank works. It is just a security, and we use in some particular conditions. For example, when we are in situation with aquifer, or when we have a situation with bondage, with link between a new construction to an old construction, that is a very delicate joint. These tubes are micro cut with laser, and we got this shutter to be used in the future to inject some polyurethane resin that expands and would prevent us to cover the joint. Another important thing to deal with are the inspection pits, pipes, or all the elements that are passing through walls or foundations, because they are a link immediately from the outside to the inside. We got a polyurethane high expensive pasta that expand with the water, and it's something like this. There are a lot of photography because I think that a photography better explain how things works on site. How is our working method? Our working method as a company started with the project analysis. We got our technical office that collects all the drawings coming from the nation. So the typical representative meet a customer, collect the drawings, and put them and send them to the technical office that could prepare a technical and commercial offer, considering everything is concerned to the waterproof. So we need to imagine we are a drop of water. Where can I pass? When you start closing all the ways, you are sure to have done a good job. If you only forgot about something, you will have some problem for sure. Then we have a check with mixed design. We have an important relationship with the concrete plants that provide their mixed design to check if Penetron Admix could be applied and in how many quantities and about the dosage. And one of the main important things is on-site assistance, because we have to face with companies that are not proper to use our products, are not used to use a white tank solution, because the traditional is something like membrane. Our projects and drawings are quite difficult at first sight, but it's very simple. There are some different position for the joint I explained to you before, and we make it as a drawing on the section of plant, so that the final result is something like this. We got a legend with all the position of the steel bars and the joints, and it's everything reported on the drawing, so that this on site is very useful because color is quite easy to read in, because a lot of time people on site doesn't spend so much time into this part. So there is a role of on-site assistance to prevent errors and to make things run well. And if there are some problems or questions, they got a referee or someone that to ask. But there is also this table that could be useful. This is a particular one. This is our wastewater plant, and it was quite complicated, but with these drawings could be easier. We make also some specific details and particulars if needed, if they are required, and the on-site reports. How to the better way to make things going well is to have a good relationship with the company, the building company. And the better way is to make reports, to check frequently how things are going, and to say it's okay, or if there's something that doesn't goes well. In this case, I don't know if it's something difficult, but these are bars on the foundation, and they are directly linked with the magro. So they pass completely through the foundation. This was a big problem because water could pass through them. So I checked them, I talked with the company that think about me, not a policeman or someone that has to check and control it, but something like an assistance, someone that could help with your responsibility. And they just put the hydro expensive red here, just to cover and to prevent water to pass through the foundation. Some case history for this part of new buildings. This is a big overview. Something about buildings, infrastructures, and healthcare. Building, this is a tunnel track that link two buildings of Pirelli, the wire company. It is near Turin. This was a site with micropiles, and we were in the condition of aquifer. So there were well points that drain the water to let the company work safe and good. This is Santana, and we work for Petronas Oil that built the new innovation center with the research labs and a lot of tanks containing oil and petrol and other chemical things that do not have to go away from the tanks. This is an example for shopping center. This is Esselunga, it's a typical chain market in Italy. And this was quite big, and it was in presence of aquifer. This is these are the foundation. There was also a tanker for the firefighters, so that continue water in the case of emergency. This is an example for parking. This is a parking in the city center of Turin, and it has a free floor underground. There was not presence of aquifer, but there is a lot of water on the ground, especially after rains, and so we have to prevent that water could come inside. This is not so big, but it is a very famous trademark, so I decided to put in, and we are very proud of the Ferrari headquarter extensions. For the infrastructure, this is a typical example of one of the value that Penetron gives to a building company. In this case, the company decided to use Penetron, especially because they got penalties for each day of delay they will have. They decided to use Penetron for 8 kilometer long road tunnel because they ended before the time, and they got also a reward for this. So this was very convenient. This is the site on Ventimiglia near the sea. We built for RFE, that is the main infrastructure about railways. And this is a road tunnel under a railroad. This is a monolith. We built it out of this site position, and then it has been pushed under the railroad. So the convenience here was that a traditional system like a membrane would have been damaged during the pushing. With Penetron, there is not this difficult, because it couldn't be damaged. It's inside the concrete. This is one of my favorites. Unfortunately, it was not one of my customers. This is a neighbor in Ventimiglia. And here we did some commercial buildings and some tanks needed for different services: oil, wastewater, not salt water. We built these tanks, and they will put directly in the sea. This is seawater, salty water, and this continued not salty water. So this was very important that the system works properly. There were some tanks with oil inside, some others with machines, and this is how Penetron works. I'm very proud of this work. For the healthcare, this is an example for a shaft and tunnel that link the Hospital San Martino with some other buildings, some other buildings areas of the hospital too. It is a shaft that's of 18 meters, and two tunnels to link the structures of 55 and 22 meters long. We did this in this way. It was built top down, starting from the top and going step by step downside. It is a more difficult solution. This is another example for healthcare. This is IRCC, that is an institute for research and cure against cancer in Candiolo, near Turin. This was an extension of the research lab and the parkings. In this case, there is aquifer, and the company decided, this was made something like 8 years ago. The company nowadays started a new extensions and choose again us. So in these days, I'm visiting them to prevent against problems. Another product is Penetron standard, and now we are going to approach the repair and the technology for infrastructure. Penetron standard fundamental is for new is for all the structures, while Penetron is to be added, is an admixture to be added on the concrete or on mortar. Penetron standard is a slurry to be applied on a concrete, and it penetrates inside. The more water it is, the more it reacts and it works. It's not a cortical, it's not something that you apply, and if you remove it will work. It won't work in the future. To apply the slurry, it seals all the cracks till 0.4 millimeters. This is a typical application. You can see how the crack is sealed and how it's not when it's not applied. There is another application for Penetron standard that is for new concrete, just only for horizontal surface, and it gives a sort of coating to protect concrete, for example, for chemical aggressivity, for chemical attack. But I will show you better. A lot of certification, it's concerned about concrete coating protection, with the permeability test, with the coating resistant and the chemical attack resistant in a range of pH from 3 to 11. So for example, in a wastewater basin, there are some those waters that have a pH aggressive, this could be used to prevent the concrete to be damaged. Another certification is is for structural and non-structural repair. So compression strength, adhesive bond, and combination resistance. The other certification it's concerning protection against the corrosion of embedded steel. So the protection against chloride and so forth. Pull-off test. Why this is important? Because talking about the adhesive bond, one of the main problems when you have to make a repair is to be sure that the mortar or the material you are using could bond with all the support. The pull-off test we did was a pH aggressive test, and we saw that after 28 days we got this value for different pH values from acid to basic. After 90 days, the adhesive tension was higher. So the more Penetron has time to work, the stronger it becomes. The adhesive bondage is stronger. Because of this, we use it as a primer. If I have to make a repair on a concrete without Penetron, we use it as a layer for make a bondage between the concrete, the mortar I'm using on the support of concrete. This is a typical application of a repair. Here it is an imperfection, could be a crack, could be a little vacuum. We have to remove it, to clean it well, use Penetron standard as a primer, then apply a mortar, and again Penetron standard as a coating. These are typical application. This is simply a box with a problem of coming water from the outside. There was a crack and there was a little vacuum, and that has been trapped. This is elevator pitch. Elevator pitch has a lot of problems because typically is the lowest part of a building. If water found a way, water is lazy, found the easiest way to pass. Elevator pits are something like an highway for them, for water. So in this case, it has been repaired, especially the joint between the foundation of the pit and the wall, and it has been repaired with Penetron and mortar with Penetron inside. Another application is for canals. In this case, the canals got an old coating, damaged. First thing, remove it, and we have to reach the concrete, the original concrete. After that, all the cracks have been repaired, and the solution chosen was to use Penetron, not applied by brush, because it was too much expensive in order of time. So we decided to spray it with a machine that could do this. And so here it is, the part of Penetron standard slurry applied with the painting machine. This is how Penetron started to react. Where you see the white parts is where Penetron is working. The more white it is, the more reaction it has started. This is the difference between before and after. This is quite typical after 8 years. An important thing about concerning canals is that the Penetron standard used as a coating, it is very, very smooth. So if I'm the owner of a canal, I want to reach two conditions: that water wouldn't be lost during the way, and that water run as fast as possible, because I have to produce electricity. With Penetron, we can prevent both of them, because the concrete becomes waterproof, and the smooth is granted, is reached. And this is also important because there are no plants growing that are typical. You can see mosques and other organisms growing on the side of the canal. This is an example for a wastewater tank. It is in our wastewater plant, purifying pipe plant. There are also problems about the embedded steel, problems concerning corrosion. Here, the first thing is to have a deep clean. They use a special machine to clean it because was several conditions. The concrete, as is poured completely close to materials during that time. And it was the application of Penetron spread it directly on site. These are joints that has been cured before, movement joints, because it's a very big tank. So we use an elastic pasta, and then we could apply it. This is the result before and after. And this is how we repair the damaged part. You can see from this side, these are the continues of the work. Next chapter is concerned with the spritz better with Penetron Admix. Spritz better, it's an application very used in tunneling and all that condition that you need to have a smooth surface for next workings, or maybe just finish it. So for example, this is a gallery, Paradiso, site in Switzerland, and we decided to make some more tests on this site. We make a test with the concrete without Penetron, and we got the permeability of 26 millimeters. The same concrete with Penetron inside got a permeability of 17 millimeters. This means that it doesn't reach the embedded steel, and it's a very good result. This allowed to have lots of jobs, and in this road gallery, site in Como, north part in Italy, next to Switzerland, we use a combined technology, both with Penetron standard to prevent corrosion, to attack the steel, the embedded steel, and the spritz batten with Penetron Admix to cover the gallery. So first of all, we got the Penetron standard to be applied. Here is the video. You have to protect well because it is not good to be in L. And this allowed us to have this result. The embedded steel are protected. The surface is ready for the boundary connection between the new Penetron spritz batten and the old concrete master, and then spritz batten with Penetron is being applied. This is a particular application, not an everyday solution, so it was nice to be seen. You can see also that there are few materials. Typically, when you use spritz batten, you got a lot of waste material because you have some pieces falling down and it doesn't attach the lot. With the Penetron Admix, we got very few waste material. This is another part of application. Okay, what's next? Our plans for the future are surely bounded with these projects, and these projects are linked with durability, self-healing technology. Just because turning back at one of the first slides, a company is concerned with the cost, with time, with difficult or easiness to a material to be applied, and it's also considered is also concerned to durability, because if I have to build something, I don't want problems in the future, and we want to help company building company to furnish products that allow a long-term, a long cycle life for buildings. And that's all. Do you have any questions? Yes, please.
We had a question from the chat, so more comments actually, and it was would be good if yeah. So if you give us more data on water cement ratio, and on the other hand, the different dose that it's how do these correlate together, like water cement ratio and the picture dose.
Okay, yeah. I have to come. Well, I can take this one too. The water cement ratio allowed us to know what is the content of cement. So the dosage still remain the 1% of the cement. Use a high water cement ratio with Penetron allowed us to reach a better concrete that could resist better to permeability test. So that's our way. I don't know if I answered completely to your question.
More of a comment rather than. There's another question from the chat. So pretty much it's like similar to talking about. Do you have any recommendations for the maximum dosage of Penetron? And the chat says that they use crystalline admixture for their experiments and start behaving like an accelerator with 4% dosage.
Okay, I have to come back to the most important slide. Here we are. That is this one. Okay, it's not recommended to use an overdosage, but not just because you don't have to exactly, but it's not needed. The performances, the increase of performance to use, for example, Penetron Admix at 2% in the concrete doesn't worth the advantage. There is a higher cost. You double the cost for the concrete, and it doesn't respect this value. So you don't have an overall of performances that could worth it. Okay. And, maybe Ari was.
Yes, thank you. Well, I was also wondering about the topic about the water to cement ratio, but I think it's really so. But I was also thinking, like, are there any like incompatibility issue if you use this kind of mixture with the different cement types, like maybe cement 1, cement 3A, cement 3B?
Okay. In fact, there are two different kind of Penetron admix. The Penetron admix typical is used to cement 1, 2, A, ALL, B, BL, and 3A. For other kind of cement that contain pozzolana, there is a special Penetron admix that is called Penetron admix P as pozzolana that could be combined and used for the other kind of cement. Okay. But we for the Penetron admix we are required Portland cement.
And also, if you mix, like for instance, like the cement paste with this kind of mixture, like the water turns into like yellow fluorescent. I mean, like, is it tracer for it,
Yeah.
or?
Yes, yes, there is a tracer.
Mhm.
And I connected with the previous question. The main reason why we need a Portland is because Penetron works with that part that doesn't was involved with the hydration reaction during the composition of the massa. And so cement with a poor level of Portland has a poor make a poor reaction of Penetron Admix, the normal one. So we need the P one. We have the tracer because we need a certain like a proof that the Penetron Admix has been used. For example, one of my customers bought a tank of concrete from the concrete plant, and the concrete plant forgot completely to put admix inside. Okay, it arrives on site, has been poured, and no grain was exposed. Okay, what can we do? He called me and I say, okay, could happen, but now we have to do something. We use the slurry to coat that part that wasn't treated with Penetron Admix. So there is a boundary between company, concrete plants, Penetron to make everything runs good. There is a good relationship. We have to speak more and to be clear each other, because it's in the interest of everyone that works has been done good.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. So you said the Penetron Admix works better with age. So the longer you need your concrete, the improvement in durability. Normal repair work, they use fast setting repair cement types, even if it is Portland based. Do you think you have some challenges with obtaining the required function of your admix with a fast setting cement, because you're looking together?
With a fast,
Setting cement.
okay. No, it does need only some time and water. So to make the reaction starts. So there is a link between the time, not the pouring time, but the time that the concrete is exposed to atmosphere and the external agents, first of all, the water, so that the reaction could start. Okay.
And you also mentioned that the reaction is mostly between the cement hydration with the oxide admixture. In a fast setting cement, like rapid hardening cement, the cement hydration will be much faster than your slide admixture. Do you think there will be some incompatibility issues?
No, Penetron doesn't gives a different environment property to the concrete. So you have to use the plastifier and other products to control the.
So you suggest to reduce the hydration rate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you give more details about the beach test that was performed to measure the water ingress?
You're talking about this one?
Yeah, like how actually did you perform the permeability test?
We did this test to be done to the EMM, which is the Mechanical and Materials Institute site in Lugano, and it is in Switzerland. It is an international laboratory, which is one of the best, just to be certain that the test has been done good. And they make the test with of penetration with this result. How really they did, I don't know.
Oh, it's a standard test.
The standard one.
With water penetration under pressure, it's EN 15 something. So
It
you have a Q. The machine is standard, so you apply under 2
Five
hours.
bars.
Five bars, yeah. for 72 hours, then you cut it and just measure the water penetration.
5 bars, I'm sure, but
Yeah, 5 bars.
and 72
5
hours.
72
Yeah.
hours, yeah.
the standard conditions. Yes.
At the end, you explained that sometimes maybe a customer forget to use the crystalline admixture during the casting.
Yes.
In case of corrosion of reinforcement, which one is better? Use the crystalline admixture during casting and use inside the concrete or in mixed site? Or if a person forget that, just coat and cover.
Okay. The better solution is to use the admix. They both work because if the concrete got admix inside, it works immediately. If you coat it, you need some time so that the reaction could start, but the results are equal. But there is a cost that you don't consider, that when you have to apply the slurry, you got the cost of the slurry and the manpower cost and the time cost that you need to apply it. So typically it's more convenient to use the admix for new structures.
Thanks, Daniel, for the presentation. It was very nice. I was interested when we were talking about the checking reports for the company.
Okay.
And how often and for how long is this checking reports being?
Okay, the check report starts at the beginning, before even before the dig phase, and we have to match the company, the building company, to better know how they are going to work, how is the plan for the pouring, and how would they approach to the building site. Then we make the offer and we purchase and we sell the product, and then constantly, but it depends on the timetable of the building company. So it's needed during the pouring, for example, on the foundation, before the foundation pour, because we have to check that the steel bar, the steel plate has been properly applied. And then I say, okay, you can pour the foundation. Then they will call us again to check if they are ready to pour the walls. And then we have some checks to report if there are problems about the quality of the pouring. Penetron has to be always linked with a correct application of the concrete. So you have to vibrate it correctly. You don't have to, if, for example, in summer, you have to protect because of the shrinkage. So there is the normal application of the concrete, but with the check and the report for our systems, for our products. And typically it ended after they close the underground building, and so we can check if everything okay. Okay. I could make you an example. There was a customer of mine that is in mountain near Switzerland, and it was the first time he used Penetron. He was scared about it because he said, okay, no membrane, and if water comes, it was a 2-level underground packing, and his customer was some hotels, very important, so he was scared about using a technology without barriers. He decided in November, when the site closed because of the snowy time, and he said, I won't close it, but I will put snow inside to check if the water will come inside. On March, he called me. We have an on-site visit, and we found 1 meter small crack that makes some humidity. Okay, this crack, we never checked it before. We didn't ended our report, our on-site reports, but we missed this little crack that got some humidity. Okay, we found it. You have to open a little bit it, and with slurry and the mortar, with Penetron, you have to seal it, and that was fine. So there is a good relationship because it's in the interest of both of us. It was to be sure that everything will be okay. I have to be self-confident that I could see problems and I could make you solve it. Maybe there are many possibilities to solve it. A faster possibility, a cheaper possibility. There are a lot of ways to be done.
Do you know roughly what the viscosity is of the slurry that you have?
What the?
The viscosity of how liquids.
Okay, the cream has to be not so liquid because you have to make a coat about 1 millimeter, 1.5. If you remind about Sweden yesterday or the day before, talk about she tried to make the Penetron slurry, but it was very difficult. Yes, it is, because it's not so simple. Fundamental Penetron slurry got some microcements, some special ingredient, and some quartz powder, some quartz sand, very thin. It has a consistency of a cream. If you think about a cream, is the closest thing you can thought about. In fact, I said, Sweden, I will give you the product. Don't try to reply it. It's very difficult to make it, but I will give you, and so you can develop your research.
Would it be suitable for injection purposes or?
Yes, there is it is not exactly Penetron standard, but there is another product that is Penetron Inject. Maybe this slide I went so fast. There are a lot of products.
I'm ready for my vascular network second.
For the vascular, well, in fact, we use those tubes, the blue tubes, and we inject, but it's not Penetron that we inject, but we use the polyurethane resin. For example, we use it because Penetron, even the Penetron slurry, it's a cement-based product. So it's not used for structural joints that have movement and could have problem if you repair them with mortar and slurry. It's not suitable for them. So for that kind of product, we got other kind of products like tubes, vascular, and polyurethane resin.
Well, thinking as a customer, I have to be worried about the costs that you
Yeah.
mentioned that are quite important. So you highlighted the fact that it could be possible to improve the quality of the concrete using the adding Penetron Admix, but using the low quality concrete. Okay?
Yeah.
So my question is, let's say,
Yeah.
my question is comparing 1 cubic meter of ordinary concrete for a certain purpose with the 1 cubic meter of a low quantity of a low quality concrete, but with the addition of the Penetron Admix, what is the difference in terms of price?
Economically, they are the same, at least.
At
But
the starting point, you mean. At the starting moment, the
Yeah.
price is the same.
it's quite the same. The difference is that you use Penetron admixture in a system. So the price of you don't have to think only about the price, but the price in the total cost of the structure.
Yeah.
If you think about the concrete, they are quite the same, maybe a little more. But you have to consider that if you use a lower ratio, water cement ratio concrete, then you have to prevent water to come in, and so you have to use membrane or some other products, typical classical traditional products that have a cost, have a timing application, require some manpower, and so these are also costs. Typically, the complete system, the white tank system, with Penetron, with the steel plates and with all, it will cost. It's completely comparable with a traditional system. with the difference that a traditional system could be damaged. If you remember about the monolith railroad that has been pushed under the railroad, that a traditional system would have been damaged. So you will spend some money in something that is not completely sure. With Penetron, if you do everything properly, you can see immediately if there is something if it works or there is something that need your attention.
What is the cost of the product itself?
Oh, it depends, of course, of it's about, you can think about in Italy around for a typical it's about 30 euros per meter cube, just to have an idea.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And thank you all attending in person and online. So we are just moving to the next speaker, is President Professor Liberato.